Well, hello and welcome. You see, because we haven't learned our history, or as I always say, that until the lions have their own historians, the tales of hunting would always glorify the hunter. You see, before we became all over westernized, women used to rule in our territories. Women were in charge, and even indeed today, within our traditional settings, the women still rule. But then we became more westernized, and then women were sidelined. You see, in 1900, when the British realized that the troops or the Ashanti army was being led by a woman, they could not believe what was happening. Because back where they came from, women were not even allowed to vote, let alone lead an army. But then we bought into their ideas, and here we are today in 2015, a woman gets elected to lead the Electoral Commission, and it's like, wait, is she strong enough? Can she hold it? Can she handle? Has she got a solid background? And there's the debate going on. Some say, well, even her political alienation is towards the ruling government, and therefore, would she be fair? Can she handle the job? We look at what Afarijan has done and some of the tough decisions he had to make, the Supreme Court and everything. And now he's resigning, and we're going to put this big crown on this lovely lady. And the big question is, can she handle it? Is she cut for the job? I have two dynamos to discuss this issue. Don't move. My name is Nana Sakwa, and this is PM Express. When I come, we are talking about the new election frontier. Don't move. Well, thank you very much for staying, and we're talking about the new election frontier. And I'm sure you need no reminder about it, but with me in the studio to discuss it, to my immediate left is Michael Omari Wadia, who's a member of the MPP communication team. Michael, you're welcome. Thank you. And then my own brother, Abraham Amaliba, lawyer, also a member of the NDC. Legal team, of course, the legal team. My brother, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Abraham, I'll start with you. Your, just first preliminary comment on, Madam Charlotte says, nomination and election as, being elected as the EC boss. What's your take?
Let me start by saying good evening to your viewers. And also today she has been sworn in by the president. So effectively, she's taken over the mantle. Her appointment has been hailed by women groups as well as human rights groups as a feather in their cap, in the sense that they have one of their own at the helm of affairs. And this is the first time that we have a woman who is going to steer the affairs of the EC. But when you look at her CV, it is an impeccable CV. It is rich. Only few lawyers in this country would have such a CV. It tells you that she has achieved in her 46 years as a lady, she's been able to achieve so much within that short period. So for me, I see her appointment as, first and foremost, a feather in the cap of the gender rights activists, and also to commend the president for keeping faith with the gender agenda, where we have indicated as a party that we want to see more women in responsible positions. She's going to add up to the Chief Justice. She's going to add up to the Attorney General. She's going to add up to Statistical Service. You have a lady there, and a lot more women. So I think that it puts Ghana in the front line as a nation that is gender sensitive.
Well, says Mrs. Osei, whose interests include gardening, interior decor, and African art, holds a Masters of Business Leadership from the University of South Africa, Pretoria, a Masters of Law, that's from Queen's University, Kingston in Canada, qualifying certificate in law, practicing certificate to work as a barrister and solicitor of the Supreme Court of Ghana, from the Ghana Law School, and an LLB, again from the University of Ghana, Legon. Michael,
Quite impressive.
I mean, she was born to do the job. What are
Well,
your comments on this?
Yes, I think, first of all, let me greet your viewers. And I think it's one of the best appointments ever made by the president. Listening to her, watching her, reading her CV, checking her background, I believe she can do the job. But this is quite slippery terrain. People with diverse, everybody will be watching you. And I believe that puts a lot of pressure on that young lady. And knowing where she's come from and what she's been able to achieve in the past, I believe she can handle that. I know that my national chairman, yes, first issued a statement applauding that appointment, and we're all for it. In the interest of Madagascar, we support her. Whatever she needs, whatever assistance as a political party, we are ready for her. What we hope and expect of her is the statement she made before her appointment. Reforms. Reforming the EC. And we are watching.
But let me say that her age should not be seen as a barrier to her appointment. There are those who say she's young, but when you check Afarajan's background, at the time he was appointed, he was just 2 years older than this lady. So I don't think that is a minus to her. In any case, we are talking about the youth taking leadership roles, and I think that we should not hammer so much. At 46, what else? You can do anything that you can do on this world. So I think that the age shouldn't be something that we should look at as a minus to her, but it should be something.
But I think the men, you know, it's a men's society. We should encourage her to succeed. We have the tendency as Ghanaians and Ghana men to bully beautiful, young, intelligent ladies. I think we should give her the opportunity to perform. We shouldn't use our positions, our strength against her. And I believe my brother will agree with me that she needs that support from all of us as citizens of Ghana.
Abraham, you see, in Ghana here, I think apart from religion, and even religion is not even national, that's even private, but nationally, there is nothing more important to us than the process of going to vote. It's absolutely nothing important to us, the process of vote. Anything at all can be procrastinated, but as for elections and voting, whether we have to borrow the money, fine, kill someone, whatever it is,
yes,
it will come to happen.
Yes.
So handling this job, I would take the president any day rather than the EC job. I mean, and I've seen some of the abuse that Afarajan went, and, you know, absolute abuse that he took, because if today you declare this person a winner, then you are against. If come the next election, if you declare that person a winner, then it means you moved. Can she take that pressure? I mean, this is pressure.
I disagree with you that the job of the president is much more lighter than the job of the EC.
In Ghana?
Yes.
There's nothing more important to us than voting.
I disagree with you. Day in, day out, just check the newspapers, the kind of insults, let me just put it directly, invectives that are heaped on the president, not just president, all presidents. And you would want to also agree with me that anything that goes wrong in this country, the buck stops with the president. The recent pulling down of structures at Agbogboloshi, the president's name is being mentioned. So it is not surprising that you have our president growing gray in it when they enter that office. So I think that the job of the president is more difficult than the job of the EC. The EC is a period. And when that period finishes, then you go back, you can rest. So if we have a woman president in the person of Johnson Sirleaf, I think that it is possible for a woman to be an electoral commissioner. The commission is regulated by laws, and the work of the commissioner is also regulated by laws. She cannot do anything otherwise outside the law. And thankfully for us in this country, the citizenry are now wide awake and alive to their responsibilities. Day in, day out, you see election risks being filed against the EC. So I think that what will make her tough is when she respects the law and follows the law. It's the law that would give her that thick skin to be able to implement the law. And when people said that Farijan was tough, he was not tough in the sense that he is an aggressive person, but he was tough because he kept on saying that I would apply the law. If you are not interested, or if you think that you disagree with me, go to court. And you remember at the Supreme Court, Justice October said, you think going to court is an easy task. So once the laws are there to support her, I think she'll be able to give out her best. That is my view.
You see, I think it is not just about the law. It is about how she holds herself from day one. What she does in that new office. If I was that close to her, I would advise tomorrow morning you should have, once he enters the office, have a meeting with all the commissioners, deputy commissioners.
That she will do by all means.
And then after, you call your regional officers, you meet them, followed by the press. By that time, I believe you will understand, and then you have a vision. You outline your vision. You should show open-mindedness and transparency in all that she does. Meeting one part and meeting the other, this will create problems for her. Bring all IPAC. I think by the end of next week, you should call an IPAC meeting and introduce herself. Just have chat with her. Then, going forward, it will be easier for her. But if he was to, like suggesting by my brother here, to have that, to build that thick skin, bossy type, you have problems. You won't go far.
At the moment, you know, from the NPP quarter, she's being tagged as an NDC sympathizer or leaning towards the NDC. I mean, does it mean that if she takes a decision and you think that, oh, this decision does not go our way, then we said it?
It is for her. That's why I said, for how she holds herself. That new office calls for transparency, truthfulness, and then also open-mindedness. Listen to all sides. Once you win the hearts of these guys and win the hearts of those guys, the match will be very easy, peaceful. But if you don't, and you attempt to be a Farijai from the day one, you are finished. If, like I heard the Agenda Secretary's comment yesterday, that anybody who is appointed, well, he said President Rawlings appointed a Farijai. They lost elections under him. MPP too lost elections under him. It's not about that position. It is just not about that position. Something more goes into it. And I believe for what she studied, looking at her CV and her records, even though young, if she holds herself well, she can be one of the best electoral commissioners in the world. And that's what I pray for her, that she will be able to. And then also that position comes with a certain level of prestige. Sometimes power eats into people's heads. I've always been arguing that if you want to know somebody, wait till he gets money or power. It's happened to us before as NPP, and we're kicked out. Today, watch NDC. It's entered them that they've been able to slap a blind man.
Where is this coming from? The man said that he didn't do that. The man that you claim has slapped somebody. But why are you introducing it here? This is
I just use this as an example. Well, you may not like it, but that's...
No, it's just because the man is not here to defend himself.
Well, we've all heard it. So I'm hearing...
he has also said that.
I'm just quoting from what I've heard from Joy FM. So, I believe that if she's able to hold herself well, and doesn't allow power and money, and then that position that has been given, bequeathed on her, to eat into her, she will deliver. She's that intelligent, and I believe she will sail through.
But I think that Charlotte is not entirely new to our electoral processes. When you look at NCCE, of which she headed, and EC, they are sister organizations in terms of their creation, constitutional creation. The EC, the former position, what was it? NCCE has a role to play in terms of education when it comes to electoral processes. So I'm sure she would have had the opportunity to even work with Afarijan because of the fact that the job of the two organizations overlap in the area of education. So she's not entirely somebody who has been plucked from somewhere as if it's you or me to come and put in there. She has some affinity with that organization. The difference now is that she is now going to be the one to be declaring who is validly elected. But you see, this hue and cry about her appointment or the appointment of an EC is neither here nor there, because the EC boss cannot manipulate resource when the resource come from the polling station, because at each stage of our electoral processes, there are checks and balances. There are agents who would sign off. So for me, on any day, I will go in for a competent polling station agent than a competent EC boss. Because for me, it is possible that we may not even have an EC boss, but we just have somebody who will be announcing the results, and we can have a very good election if we have polling station agents, party agents who are competent. In the last election, what we saw there was not in the last petition at the Supreme Court, what we saw there was not the handiwork of Afarijan. It was not Afarijan who was feeling the pink sheet. It was people who were not up to the task who caused that mess. If we had a good system where those people were competent, we will not see those things at the Supreme Court. So I think that as political parties, we should be interested in what happened at the polling station. That is where your Supreme Court is. That's where your judges are, at the polling station, where you ensure that you get everything right.
Leadership is everything. Leadership. I don't agree. Even though
the grassroots should be solid, yeah.
Yes. But leaders always have influence on their followers. If you're a leader and you don't have any influence on your followers, then you are not a good leader. You mentioned something. You are a Ghanaian, right?
Yeah.
You vote. I'm not going to ask you about who you're voting for. But does your political party or lineage that you belong to affect your program?
Well, no. I hope not.
Yes. And that is what I'm saying. We may tag her as an NDC person. We may tag her as affiliated to one MPP executive, but it is about how she holds herself, knowing the position she's been given. I keep saying that there's no coach in Ghana here, football coach in Ghana here, who does not support one team or the other. But you look at the bigger picture. You one day want to be a FIFA referee. So once you start from the school, normally they start from school teams. And then you move to the division 7. You get to a point and you realize, no, I want to one day become a FIFA referee. And these are the rules. If I want to be there, this and that are what I have to do. So I believe that no matter what people have said about her, well, eyes are watching. Over 25 million people are listening and watching whatever you do. Because everybody, including myself, you and Amaliba, wants to see something done, something better.
Well, one of the criticisms against her is that they didn't see any major change or any reform that she brought to the NCC. You know, she was in and out, and you know, they didn't feel anything, and therefore.
I have not spoken to her, but I can defend her.
Okay.
Because that organization is castrated. they don't have the resources to operate. So you may have the best of ideas, but if you don't have the resources to operate, you can do nothing. I remember we sent Seko to what was that? Youth Authority or what? Seko Nkrumah.
Yeah, youth authority.
He came back crying. And it wasn't because he couldn't perform. He couldn't perform. It was because he did not have the freedom to operate. He did not have the resources to operate, the cooperation. And so at the end of the day, he failed. And he was kicked out. Now he says he wants to go back to America and stay there. Because Ghana. But that is exactly what I'm saying. So I believe that with the resources available at the EC, she'll be able to, if she really wants to operate and make a mark internationally. I'm not looking at her just in Ghana here. Afrajan did very well, but there were certain decisions that he took that today, because of those decisions, he can't do much outside after retirement. But by now, if he had done certain things that people were complaining of, if he had been that open, everybody will be calling him to come and teach them, train them, and he will be making even a lot more money than he was performing his duties as the chairman of the EC. And that is what I expect of my sister. I want her to succeed. I believe she can succeed. She has the qualifications, she has the ideas, she has the brain. I listened to her one day. That's when she talked about the reforms in EC. And I said, yeah, you're talking not like my friend somewhere. But I believe she has a program, and let's watch her.
Reforms?
Yes.
Reforms?
I disagree with the allegation that she has not achieved at the NCC. If you talk to those
she could have done better, that's what I'm meaning.
No, it's not even you. He raised a question. If you talk to those she has worked with at the EC, they will tell you that she has brought some dynamism into the organization. For instance, she has introduced what is called the Citizenship Week. And you know, the whole idea about the NCC is citizenship education. She's been able to introduce that, and that is a platform on which she has, and then the commission try to educate the citizens.
Have you heard about that before?
It may not.
Have you heard about that before?
It may not have caught up with the Ghanaian population.
Exactly.
But she's been able to introduce that. She's been able to revamp the website of the NCCE, where you can now go and see the activities of the NCCE in there. So it's not entirely true. Within the constraint, the financial constraints that she has, she's been able to do these things. But there are two types of leaders. People compare her to Larry Bimi, who was a household name. There are leaders who will not want to be engaging the media anytime they perform an activity. There are some who would allow the PRO to deal with the media. But there are leaders who want to take the bull by the horn and engage the media. Larry Bimi was that type. She is not that type. But let me quickly add that where she is going now, she has no choice but to deal with the media, because mostly you want to hear from the Electoral Commissioner. So things will change now. You'll begin to see her more in the public domain, and she'll be coming up with statements, and that will make her maybe a household name that people want her to be. But I think that if you look at her CV tells us that she has done some work in the area of reform agenda. She has some knowledge in institutional reforms. One thing that she will bring to bear on the commission's work is a legal background, and also this issue of institutional reform.
What will you want reformed at the EC?
Say it again.
What will you want reformed, changed at the EC?
For me, I've always advocated for the fact that IPAC should be given a legal backing, because IPAC has become an integral part of the electoral process. But you see, IPAC is not governed by law, it's not backed by law.
Yeah.
So the EC, the commissioner, is not mandated to listen to IPAC, it's not mandated to take ideas from IPAC. If the EC is seen always taking ideas from IPAC, it could even mean that the EC is being compromised. Because when you look at the law governing the ECs, it says that the ECs shall not be controlled by anybody. So if we all agree that IPAC has now become so important, then we need to give it a legal backing. And I think that, for me, her first job is to trigger some amendment that will make IPAC an integral part of EC.
What reforms do you want to see, Michael?
Well, a whole lot. Actually, our party submitted a proposal to EC, and a committee was set up, including NDC. And we hear they are done with their job, but there's one thing that I believe, well, let me mention too, that if she is able to bring on board, even if she's gone today, she'll be forever remembered for. One is a voter register, which Afarejan himself admitted in court at the Supreme Court that was not correct, was bloated. The current voter register, if she's able to say, this one we cannot use, the person who did it says it's not correct. I want to succeed. I want a better image for myself and for EC. So if he's able to change that. Secondly,
let me take a break and come back, because this voter register thing, I want to find out if anybody is going to be bold enough to say, look, I've scrapped it, let's start afresh. Don't move. I'm coming straight.
It's important for our survival.
Well, thank you very much for staying, and we are looking at the new election frontier, our own new Yasantua in the modern day to hold a election machine and lead the charge. But we're looking at reforms, and Michael, you raised the bloated register. Yeah.
Currently, like I said, Afarejan himself, the man who's presided over, says it's bloated. We went to this, I remember, was it Abu Ramadan? Went to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court decided that you cannot use the NHIS card to register. Today, about 25 to 30% of the names in the current voter register was registered with per our records, per what we check. Voters, national ID, national health insurance. Does that make it credible? Apart from that, remember...
Are we not complicating things too much? I mean, is the national health card not identity
It
enough?
does not... I don't know if you have one. When you fill in the forms, it doesn't discriminate. Once you go and register, whether you are Ghanaian, you are American, you are Botokolese, you are allowed to fill and get it. So if you use that to say you are a Ghanaian, so you can register.
Okay. But that matter was sent to court.
Supreme Court.
And then the Supreme Court said that that card should no longer be used. So the Supreme Court struck down that card. However, the applicants wanted the Supreme Court to make an order that the EC should expunge names of those who use that card. And the Supreme Court said, no, that one, you can't do that. Because you cannot punish people retrospectively.
That is why we are suggesting that the current voters register should be scrapped.
Those people are still in there. But another aspect of it is infants. When I say infants, people who are not of age, who found their names in there. The EC lacks the capacity to expunge those names unless the EC goes to court or make a court order for them to remove those names. Now, who are those who are sponsoring the children to go and vote, to go and register? Is it not the same political parties? So
that is why I'm saying that register should be scrapped.
A new register with that same attitude of what? Of sponsoring kids to go and register will still be bloated. Are you getting my analysis? Because if we as political parties don't discipline ourselves, and because we want votes, we send children, and when they are challenged, particularly in strongholds, you find people attacking those who are challenging them. So I don't think that, and that's the point I'm making, I don't think that when we open up for a new...
Is that not a reform that she has to bring to be able to, maybe a foolproof so that kids will not be allowed to
I don't
vote?
think that if we open up tomorrow for a new registration process, it will be a panacea to cure the problem of bloating this thing. Because still, you have political parties sponsoring kids to go and register.
Don't point me. Because we have been fighting that. We have been fighting
Fighting
that.
what?
Hey, that child abuse, I call it child abuse. You know what? Somebody went to, allowed his daughter to go and register, even though she was 13 or so. Then, when the girl got to age 15, somebody had an affair with her. And they were sent to court for defilement. Fortunately or unfortunately, the guy knew the girl had a voter's register, a voter ID card. That said she was 18. The case was thrown out. What do you call that? We are saying that the voter register is not credible.
So in this case, what can she do, since if the two main political parties won't play ball?
I think that the IPAC, the reforms he's talking about, have made some proposals which, if we amend the law, would give power to the EC not to even go to court, but on its own accord, can look at some of the faces. You can just see that they are children,
too young,
to strike them off. So if some of these reforms that IPAC has,
I don't see their problem. I don't know why they don't want the voter register. They agree that the problem, the voter register is not clean.
Look,
they agree that the voter register is not credible. Look, but they don't want us to scrap that. And what is your problem?
There are internal mechanisms that can be used to clean. Yes, you know that.
Is it acid or soap or
you know that?
How are you going to clean that?
Let me tell you. You know
how will you clean?
Let me tell you. You know that there's a period where the EC advertises that people should come and it's an exhibition period. After registration, they exhibit this thing. That's the period that
have you not done that all the time?
When you know somebody who is dead, you have to go and report.
If the person is young,
underage, you fill a form. There are forms that you fill.
There are several forms that you fill. The kids' names are still there.
No, you don't take advantage of that. You've not taken advantage. If you take advantage, people have had their names expunged.
We've had foreigners coming in to register. Their names are still in there.
And you did not report?
We've reported, nothing has been done.
No. I'm saying that
once you fill the form, the current
once you fill the form, how would
the
that cure a foreigner coming? How did the foreigner get his name there? And
because we were allowing an NHIS card to be used. And you know, it's easy to, once you go there, you pay 180 or 280. You pay that 28 Ghana, you get a voter NHIS. So anybody, like you said, can just be imported, brought in here, given the NHIS, go and register, tell them you live in this house, they give them house numbers, and they do that.
So but my point is, once we've scrapped it, okay, let me come back to you. So once we scrapped it, and we'll open a new one, how do we make sure kids and foreigners don't come in?
That is, you see, apart from scrapping, there are laws in Ghana governing electoral system in Ghana, but we've never applied them. So, EC officer can go and put figures there and come and say it was a mistake, and he's gone. Have we heard ever in Ghana here that an EC officer has been prosecuted? But that is fraud. Once you change figures in Ghana, the law says it's fraudulent, and it's an offense. But we've never done that. The law says if we are not of age and you go and register, have we ever heard that we've arrested somebody and put before court before? They say if you are not a Ghanaian, you cannot register. There are currently several names, foreigners in there. We've never arrested anybody, but on the election day, they import them again, and then they come. We've never, so the law just there, it's not dormant, it's not working. So if we can let the laws work, that will deter people who are not of age, who are not qualified or are not Ghanaians to register from coming there. There are so many other strategies that we can adopt.
Let me divert lesbian camp. If you're complaining about kids and foreigners on the register, and Amaba, you're saying that no, let's
Apart
go.
from that, I'm saying that the number in the current voter register, after I admitted, is overbloated. Looking at our current population and the people registered, it's nowhere in the world. Ghana has, they say we are about 25 million. But our current voter register is about how many? 17? Is it 14? 14 million. Over half, over 50%. It's nowhere in the world. So there is a problem. It's not just about the kids and the foreigners registering, but the sheer number of people in there. And
I'm wondering why the NDC is not enthused about, look, let's do something about it. Because they seem to like...
They say we should just clean the voter. How do we clean the voter register?
You've asked him a question, he couldn't answer that.
I answered it.
How would the new register ensure that kids and foreigners don't come in? He has not answered it. He said we should apply the law. But what we are saying is that how do we ensure that they don't even get in there before we apply the law? He has not been able to answer it. A new register would not.
I am saying that
because,
currently, I'll tell you.
If political parties put a blind eye at children who go to register and even sponsor them, even bars them to go and register, how can that ensure that we have a clean register? So it is the attitude of political parties, which is one. Two, for me, I am of the view that when we take our electoral laws, which allow for the challenging of people who are not qualified, if we do that vigorously, we'll be able to expunge names which are not supposed to be there. But we are not taking advantage of that. We are not ensuring that we challenge people who whose names have been found there. If we refuse to challenge the people who are not qualified to be there, then if there's a new register and then we find the same names there again, because of our attitude, our laid-back attitude, we still cannot challenge it. So that will not bring about a clean register. That's my point. But we are going to only waste time and resources.
I don't know their problem.
Are you going to pay? It will not cure.
Are we going to ask you to pay for the new register?
We are.
So what is your problem?
We know that we need money.
In any case, if Ghana don't have money, the
national
community says we are ready. We will sponsor if you.
Are you aware that international community have refused? They don't sponsor us any longer. Are you aware that the last election
they said if we want a new voters register, I can give you a contact. Just call that person.
They say that we are now the lower middle income country.
So
we should find our own work and do our elections.
Let me take a break.
So if we give you the money, will you agree that we should do it?
MPP.
If we give you the money,
MPP.
If we get the money, if we find the money for you,
MPP.
If we find the money for you, will you agree?
You mean MPP?
I said if Nana here to find the money.
Because if we say MPP, I'm surprised because you have a loan you have not paid. Your headquarters is going to be attacked.
Okay, guys, I'm going to take a break, and then when I come back,
and you want to give
I'll get you to join me. But we want to find out if indeed reforms are the major issue. How's Mrs. Osei going to take? Mrs. Osei going to handle this? I'm coming straight back. Well, with me in the studio is Michael Omariwadie, who is a member of the MPP communication team, and Ibrahim Amaliba, who's a legal practitioner legal practitioner and also an NDC member. But it's time for you to now join the conversation, and I just want you to tell me, what do you think that Mrs. Charlotte Osei could bring on board that's going to bring that wind of change, that reform that we're all looking for, so that elections don't become do and die, he said, she said. And it's 0302 211 701. 0302 211 701, 702 703 704. So get dialing and let me hear your take on the issue. And Augustine in Tamale. Augustine.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Good evening. What's your take?
On your panel.
Thank you.
Yeah, I want to ask Mr. Omariwadie. If you think is a national health insurance that people are using to vote, to come and register at the EC, are we not having our brothers Africans who are in Ghana, Ivorians, Liberians, whoever? They are all black. If you come and use a Ghanaian name, can you identify that this person is not a Ghanaian? He's a black person, like you are. If the person can use, I'm a northerner from Upper West. You can use my name like Terenwe. Meanwhile, you are not a Ghanaian. Can you say that the person is a liar? And the person can give you a house number and give you all this information that you needed. How can you defend it that the person is not a Ghanaian?
Thank you. Good point there. So maybe we need our national ID. But let me speak to Charles now. Hello, Charles.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
My point is very simple. Mario Adie, he always says that he doesn't see the problem of us, NDC, why they don't want a new register. What is also their problem that they want a new register?
It's bloated.
It's
A
bloated.
new register
It's not
will
credible.
not take away. Hello? Hello?
Yes, I'm listening.
A new register will not take away the problem of underage or foreigners registering. They can still register. What will be the requirement for having your name in the new register? If I should ask.
Thank you very much. Let me go to Falika. Falika.
Yes, hello.
Yes, let me hear your take on the issue.
Yes, I want to contribute to the program.
Very good. You're on air.
Yeah, I've closely listened to the lawyer and then the other panelists from MPP. I don't know, I'm saddened by these arguments. One is running away from opening a new register, and the other one is canvassing for the register to be, in other words, to be annulled. So what is the fear, especially to that of Aram Amalaba? What is the fear of him running away from the idea of scrapping the register when the EC chair, the EC boss himself, clearly admitted in court that it was overbloated? I don't know. There is some kind of fear. Closely listening to Amalba very well. He's running away from the point that...
Well, thanks, but I think his problem is, once we scrap it, how do we prevent the new one from becoming like the old one? But let me speak to Benjamin. Hello, Benjamin. Hello, Benjamin.
Yeah, hello, good evening, PM.
Good evening.
Hello, good evening, PM.
Good evening, Benjamin. You're on air. Let me hear your take.
Yeah, I want to ask Omariwa that how many times has he tried to report any third person to the EC?
Good. I got your question. I'm sure I'll get him to answer. I get him to answer that. Have I got anybody else on the phone? Do I have anyone else? Okay. So let me get. Have you ever reported anybody?
We've even gone to court on some of the issues at EC. I've done that myself personally. And I think a question that was posed, and I'll repeat that. What is the NDC's, Amaliba and the NDC's problem? Why can't they allow, if they agree and admit that the current voter register is faulty, is not credible, why are they not allowing that? Somebody says you found the field.
There's a football field which is bad.
I wish we should delete NDC names from it.
Wait.
I wish we should delete
That's the
NDC
point
names
I'm
from
coming
it.
to. There's a football field which is bad. You have two teams playing on the field.
Let's get the level.
Wait,
let's get the first
we are all
level.
subjected to that football field. How does that inure to the benefit of one team?
So
let's assume that there are infants or minors. There are foreigners in the register.
And they are
do all these foreigners and infants vote for the NDC? What is your proof?
If they don't vote for that, allow us to delete.
Let me take John in Sunyani. Hello, John.
Hello?
Hello, John.
Yeah, I want to make a contribution.
Very good, John. Let me hear your contribution.
The argument by Omari Wadi is flawed. Yeah, I'm saying that Omari Wadi is flawed in his argument, right?
Yes.
In the sense that if you say people are using national insurance to register and that we should scrap it, the national identification program was a failure. It means that what other national identity IDs do we use? Is it a driver's license or a passport? What percentage of the Ghanaian population have passports and driving licenses that would be used as an identity to identify? So his argument is flawed. What Amaliba is espousing is this. there's a problem in the register. Let's find mechanisms to deal with those that are on the register who are not eligible, those that are overbloated. You understand?
Yeah.
And what the is also arguing that there are foreigners in here. He should understand that the constitutions that in the coming to the effect of the constitution by 1992, anybody who lived in Ghana by then automatically become a Ghanaian. It doesn't know. By the enforcement of the constitution in 1992, if you're Senegalese and you're living in Ghana, you automatically become a Ghanaian.
John, I think,
yes, they are foreigners, all right.
John, I think that assertion is not true. I mean, Abraham is saying that no, that assertion is not true.
He's a lawyer.
He's a lawyer.
It's true. You can go to the constitution.
No, he is a lawyer. He's telling you your
okay, hold on. Let me get you to correct. Is there, if before the constitution?
I don't have my constitution at hand. If I could call back, I can refer you to the very section.
Our citizenship laws, and when you go to the constitution, there's a portion for citizenship. It is when one of your parents, that's either your mother, your father, one of them, is a Ghanaian. Then you automatically
become a Ghanaian. Okay, so that's the correction.
Or your grandfather.
Let me speak to Michael in Tamale. Hello, Michael.
Hello.
Yes, Michael. Let me hear your take.
Yeah. Okay.
Hello.
Yes, Michael. What do you have to say?
I like the argument both Amaliba and Omariwa they are advancing. My point is we used the register for 2012 election, and I think the Supreme Court declared the election based on that register. So does it mean that if they are going to review it, my knowledge of it is that it means, therefore, that whatever the Supreme Court did was bad. So over there would be implication not only for the ongoing system, but even the previous decision that the Supreme Court took. And also over there, I don't believe that as soon as you just take the National Health Insurance card there, you are just automatically registered. There are other processes. There are places where you don't even have to use. They say if you...
Oops, sorry. Let me speak
have you asked you?
Let me speak to Patrick in Pong, and then I come to the studio. Hello, Patrick. Oh, okay. Then let me come to the studio.
Do you even know that you can register without even a card if two people can vouch
for who you
are?
So
is that a matter of
so then my
every
next,
Ghanaian,
so
if you're a Ghanaian, definitely the law
my
says,
next question to both of you is: until we come up with a credible national ID, what can she do as an EC board on a new register?
you have to do it, a new one.
No, she can't initiate a national ID, can she?
No, the national ID.
Yeah, so until the state
I would
initiates...
love it if Amaliba can tell us why they scrapped that. They deliberately frustrated Ghanaians and prevented us from having a national ID card. Why?
And you say it is this government who frustrated
Who
us.
did that?
I don't know what you are talking about, because I know that...
there was another proposal I was going to talk about.
Let me let Alalima land on this.
I know that you started a program. There was no funding for it. We came.
No, there was funding.
There was no funding for
there
it.
was funding.
When we came in, we could not see the funding to continue with it. So we had to cease the process, stop the process. Then later on, we kick-started the process again. Now, the institution responsible for the cards, have printed cards, and people are not even going to pick the cards. You know that.
I've not got mine. I go here, they
print cards. People
it.
don't even go for them. They've been calling people to come for the cards.
You can't find them. You don't even know where they are.
It is not a problem with the government. It is even our own attitude where we can't even go for the cards. They've called for people to come for those cards.
The second issue that I would love my sister to handle is the problem that His Excellency President Mahama went through in appointing her.
What problem?
The law says he should appoint in consultation, on advice. Somebody went to the Supreme Court over it. And then also, like, I have a paper here, proposed an issue that was raised by President Kufuor. I think it was, if you look at it, Friday, March 9th, 2001, President Kufuor, President initiated debate on the EC's tenure of office. President Mills also raised that issue about the tenure of office. I don't know if you can read it for, I don't want to do it. I don't have my, just one paragraph. That's the first two paragraphs, if you can read.
So
it's daily graphic, right?
The President, Mr. J.A. Kufuor, yesterday initiated a debate on the Electoral Commission when he expressed concern about the Commission's tenure in office. He was of the view that the absence of a time frame within which electoral commissioners should serve, the absence of a time frame within which electoral commissioners should serve could have tendency to blight the country's democratic dispensation.
That is enough.
Rather,
that is
this
in
is going to cause
2001.
problems. Because if you have an electoral commissioner who knows that he has 2 terms and that he has a last election to go, he's tempted to take some
let me tell you the remedy.
So
let me show you a remedy.
But if you have a tenure of office, you know you are secured for a very long time, you will not be tempted to take kickbacks or bribes.
My proposal.
30 seconds.
And I think you will agree with me. 1, after the president's appointment, he should go to parliament and secure about 2/3, at least 2/3 of the vote in parliament. And I'm saying that every 4 years, you have to go back and renew your mandate. That will make them more responsible. They will know that if I don't do well, I cannot get the 2/3 in parliament. That will also eliminate.
That's constitutional reforms you are talking about.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
For now,
if
the law
she herself will raise it, the respect you get in Ghana and because it is about her. The law says you can stay forever. Why will you propose that?
It's not forever.
No, you can stay forever.
It's not forever.
Gentlemen, thank you.
Stay forever.
Thank you very much. But I want
when
to
you say forever, you are misleading.
Thank you very much to Tantis Fashions, who produces the shirts that I wear for the show. And you can reach them on 024-366-2001. 024-366-2001.
Your guests also need some.
So give them a call. But I want to say thank you very much to Abraham Maliba and Michael Omariwa. Thank you. It's been an exciting debate, and the debate continues. But tomorrow we'll be back to do this all over again. And happy holiday, Republic Day. So I'm sure enjoying with your families, and make sure you make the most of it. Thank you very much for watching.